When we were children, adults seemed like heroes. Kids have nothing to fear. They can always run over to the adults and hide behind them. It is not the job of children to solve adults' problems. It should work the other way around. So what do you do when an ancient evil brings your worst nightmares to life and the adults in your life don't even notice? You go to your parents, but instead of finding loving support, you find a scary clown in your mother's wig. Your throat goes dry with fear and despair. There's nothing you can do. It's time to accept your fate. Is there a way out? How can you find it? I'm afraid there is not. I'm sorry to say this, but sometimes you fall victim to a cosmic monster called It. Hello everyone. Today we're talking about the 2017 film It, based on the novel by the king of horror himself, Stephen King. The nightmare begins with the soothing sound of piano on a rainy day in Derry, Maine, in October 1988. Little Georgie, who looks like one of God's angels, is getting ready to go out, and his older brother Bill is too sick to go with him. The only thing Bill can do for his brother is to help him build a paper boat to play with in the puddles in the street. I'm not sure what I find more surprising about this scene. The quality of Bill's boat or the thickness of the paper back in '88. You could build boats for Coast Guards out of this stuff. Georgie is just as impressed as me by the boat. He runs outside to play and pushes the boat in the water. The boat is carried by the stream of water and Georgie cheerfully chases after it. The only thing that can stop him is the fence that he runs into. Keep your head up. I used to bang my head a lot. It didn't do me any harm. I grew up to be a big and strong YouTuber. Georgie doesn't have time to get upset anyway. His glorious ship is getting away from him. It goes off course and falls in the drain on the side of the road. Titanic 2.0 is lost forever, and Georgie tries in vain to find it in the dark hole of the storm drain. A clown comes out to help the boy out. He introduces himself to Georgie as the dancing clown Pennywise, and says that the entire circus was washed away by a storm. Georgie is completely satisfied by this logical explanation. Georgie goes to leave, but the clown figures out the boy's weakness. He has the boat that his older brother lovingly made for him in his hands. Pennywise holds out the boat for Georgie. When Georgie goes to take it, the clown bites his hand off. Then he drags Georgie into the drain. Blood has been shed. Why do the sweetest ones die first?
No! God, please, no!
Poor Georgie didn't stand a chance. Who can say they wouldn't try to get such a great boat back? It's no pity losing your hands here. Seriously though, Pennywise wouldn't have let the boy go under any circumstances. Georgie was doomed from the moment he looked into the drain. 8 months later, time to meet the main cast. No offense, Georgie. Meet Mike Hanlon. He helps out his grandfather on the farm, but cannot bring himself to kill a sheep. His grandfather shares some valuable life lesson with him before putting a metal rod between the sheep's eyes, which is part of the training process. In the next scene, it is the last day of school before the summer break. We see the gang who will go on to fight evil. Bill Denbrough, aka Stuttering Bill. Can you guess how we got that nickname? He is Georgie's big brother and the leader of the group. Richie Tozier is the comedian of the group, a true master of mom jokes. Eddie Kasprak is a sickly boy who takes pills for everything. Stanley Uris is the son of a rabbi. He follows rules and order. Beverly Marsh is a good girl with a bad reputation. Ben Hanscom is the brain of the operation. He's an archivist. Each of them have their own little problems. Bill is holding on to hope that Georgie is still alive somewhere and keeps on searching for him in the sewers, where he was last seen. His parents, however, have already accepted that their son is gone. Mike is an orphan who lives on a farm, has few friends, and faces racism on a regular basis. Beverly lives with her domineering father, who clearly has an unhealthy attraction to his daughter. Richie hides his true self behind a constant stream of jokes. Stanley is worried that he will embarrass his father at his bar mitzvah. Ben is the new kid at school and is having a hard time bonding with his classmates. Eddie's mother is overprotective. She tells him that he is weak and sickly. On top of all this, they have all got one problem in common. Henry Bowers is the local bully who runs with a pack of hooligans, terrorizing people with knives and violence. How do you like this matchup?
There are too many of them.
After going on an adventure together and getting into a stone-throwing battle, Bill, Beverly, Ben, Mike, Richie, Eddie, and Stanley become best friends. They fought back against Henry and form the Losers Club, a group of outcasts who are tired of being pushed around. A noble cause. What weapons do they have on their side? Their main strength is unity and friendship. Sure, it's not much, but they also have an air gun made for slaughtering cattle and sharp metal rods in their arsenal. That's some heavy artillery. The Losers Club starts to investigate strange events around Derry and tries to find the source of the town's constant disasters. According to statistics, people die in despair in Derry 6 times more often than the national average. And that's just the adult population. It's even worse for the kids. Surely such an anomaly would be cause for concern for the authorities, right? But the adults in town don't seem to care about all this. I will explain why later. The town of Derry seems to live in a vacuum of indifference. Each member of the Losers Club faces Pennywise, who embodies their worst fear. Bill can't accept that his brother is dead and blames himself, so the clown constantly taunts him with images of Georgie. Richie is afraid of clowns, which makes Pennywise's job easy. Stan is horrified by the creepy portrait of a flute player that his dad keeps in his office. Pennywise does not miss his chance to play on Stanley's fear. Mike constantly relives the death of his parents, who died in a fire. Ben is scared of mummies and headless children who died in an explosion at Easter. Who wouldn't be afraid of this? Beverly is terrified of her own father, both the real one and the illusion created by Pennywise. Eddie is scared of germs. His nightmare is a leper who chases after him. Since they each saw the clown in a different form, they call him It. It turns out that the adults in Derry are not merely apathetic to what is happening, they are all under the clown's influence. Just like the residents of any town with a crappy mayor, Pennywise has the entire town of Derry under his spell and uses it as his personal plaything and feeding ground. I think now is a good time to get to know the villain of the story a little better, so you can understand how ridiculous it is to think 7 children could defeat this creature. Pennywise the dancing clown is not just some bumbling demonic buffoon from an ancient Icelandic fairy tale. It, or Pennywise, or Bob Gray, whatever you want to call him, is an ancient evil who was born in the primordial void millions of years before the dawn of human history. No one knows his real name, and his true appearance is also unknown. This is because the monster's true form is so terrible that anyone who looks at it for even a second will immediately lose their minds. The entity came to Earth on a meteorite that fell down on the spot that would one day become Derry. His life cycle has not changed since the beginning of time. He spends a year hunting down several victims and then hibernates peacefully for 27 years. Nobody could stop this bloody process, although people aren't quite as timid as they used to be. It can manipulate people's minds and confuse them. The clown has its tentacles throughout the entire town. He is the master of everything that happens there. Its favorite food is human flesh and fear. Throughout the film, we see that Pennywise has several opportunities to kill the kids, but he tries to scare them first. The clown says that fear makes human flesh even tastier. That's why he plays these sadistic games with his victims. He is marinating his prey, rather than simply killing them. It's easier to scare children. This is why it goes after little boys and girls. Pennywise knows everyone's deepest fears. He then skillfully transforms into a werewolf, then into a zombie, or even your deceased brother. A live-action children's fantasy movie plays out right in front of their eyes. He becomes the embodiment of their fears, a real terror that follows you everywhere and is so real it can bite your hand clean off. Are you prepared to get out from under your blanket and fight such an adversary face to face? Now, think back to when you were a child. How often did you overcome your deep-rooted fears and solve the town's problems without any help from adults? For some of us, this is still a problem. Do you really think that 7 school kids, 13 and 14-year-olds, can overcome their deepest fears by simply uniting together and believing in themselves? If they were so strong, they should be running personal development workshops, not fighting clowns from outer space.
Yes, you can!
Let's be realistic. The Losers Club would have crumbled when they visited the house on Neibolt Street. Children cannot be heroes. That's why the military draft age is not 14. There's a reason Stan and Eddie say, "It's summer. We're supposed to be having fun. This isn't fun. It's scary and disgusting." And they were right. Some things just aren't supposed to be for children. And fighting an ancient evil that is beyond human comprehension is one of them. In the final fight against Pennywise, we see how Bill's loyal friends do not leave him behind to be torn to shreds by the clown. Cute. But in real life, he would snap Bill's neck like a kitten and the others would run away in horror. That's life. No one ever said that it would be easy. Unfortunately, space clowns are in charge here. On this optimistic note, it's time for me to say goodbye. Write your thoughts about childhood friendship's ability to save the world in the comments. Do you have any examples of heroic deeds performed by children? Also, tell us about your deepest, darkest fears. I'll start. Spiders. I've had a great time with you. I hope you enjoyed it too. Have a good day. Peace of mind to you all. See you soon.